And actually, I was employed by NASA.
What?
And went to Idaho.
No.
And then after I got rehired, I found an opportunity where I could take kids on a trip to Disney World.
So this is what you're famous for.
And I went to 24 years in a row. I called it a Science Quest trip. Went in Disney World, did science before the park even opened up.
Do you think we went to the moon?
Oh, yeah.
So did you know?
Road.
I know, right? But did you know that we've reached a point where I read a statistic, I don't know if it's true, but like 60-something% of the population believes we did not go to the moon. Yeah. What is your subject of your specialty? What did you do science or was it?
Science.
Okay, I thought so.
Science.
Yeah.
I actually started as a math person.
Really?
And my degree is in math, but I've always loved science.
Yeah.
I have a desire to learn all the time.
Do you do still?
Yes.
Man, I love that. That's how I am. What have you always taught a certain grade or did you jump around? What was your grade of choice usually?
Most of the time, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Okay.
And fifth grade most of the time. Yeah.
They say that's a very pivotal grade.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's been the most impactful? Do you think? I'm sure they all have their significance. But
actually, I think fourth grade is a big deal. But kids, they have changed. A little bit over the years, but pretty much the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you that.
There's some things they're stronger at nowadays, and some things they're weaker at. You can talk about the being on screen times and things like that. Last year, we actually, as fourth graders, they made it to state.
That's what I heard. And then that's incredible. So break down just a little bit. What is it you guys do in robotics? Are you building actual robots that perform functions like a multi-joint? Well, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, they're quite complicated.
Really?
Part of it's you're driving it, but you have to code the driving part. Push this button forward and the thing goes forward and it turns that thing.
Yeah.
And then we have the engineering notebook. And we have, kids doing that also. You have to prove that you designed and made that robot. And then you have the team competition.
Right, that's what I've heard about.
And you are combined with another team.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And you recently. And you talk to these other kids. And at the Worlds, we had these Chinese teams a couple times.
Yeah.
And we have translators and things like that.
I was going to ask how you communicated. Okay.
Yeah, that's how we communicated. Yeah. And this one team was so much better than us. They said, just get us the pins and we'll make the stacks, basically.
They're like, just do the legwork and we'll use our brain.
Yeah.
And also on that point, on Christmas, during Christmas Day, in the morning, everybody's in their house, but in the afternoon, everybody's outside on their new skateboard or their new bike or playing with their new ball. And now it's just dead. Like everybody's inside with their new tablet or whatever, know. And it's kind of sad. What does recess look like nowadays? Is it the same where we have, a group playing football and a group on the swing set and a group, what's it like?
You mentioned something. You said swing sets.
Yeah, you don't have them or what?
They do not have swing sets.
So I grew up in San Angelo and went to school, Austin Elementary, went to high school here, was in the school system in SAISD, and I had a couple teachers who were really impactful. Mr. Nichols being one of them. I went to Austin Elementary, but it seems that everybody has, one or two teachers that they remember for the rest of their lives. Today's guest has been an SAISD teacher for almost 50 years. He's made a huge impact on this community. Today we talked about the SAISD school system, the Horseman school system in general, standardized testing. We talked about taking trips to Disney World, the robotics team, and everything in between. Today's guest is Mr. Wendell Wheaton.
Forged by fire, turn the pressure into power. For real. Bills burn, yeah, we rise, we inspire. Forged by fire, turn the pressure into power. For real. Bills burn, yeah, we rise, we inspire.
So, welcome back, guys, to the Matt Cutrer Report. So I am here with another very special guest. So today we have Mr. Wheaton in studio. Thank you, Mr. Wheaton, for coming in.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. So bear with me. I'm out of breath. Our sound tech and studio manager, my dad, like I said, he's out of town, so I'm kind of handling all the production stuff. So let's get it started. So the Facebook Live is going. We're going to do that for a few minutes.
Okay.
Everything, other cameras are going. So let's start off right out of the gates here. Give the audience a little background. So tell them who you are, what you do. Look into that camera right there and give them your elevator pitch.
Okay, I'm Wendell Wheaton. I actually was born and raised in Michigan. And then after I got married and after I graduated, I applied for Australia. And I didn't get the job in Australia in the Outback.
Wow.
Because they said I look too young.
Oh, really?
Okay. And my wife looked too young.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if I can't go to Australia, I'm going to Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
So I actually moved to the very South Texas and taught at a little town called Donna. All I did is send resumes down there and got 6 offers, different schools. Took the first one and taught down there, and migrant remedial math and gifted and talented math at the elementary level.
Nice.
And then I went back to Michigan for a little while, got a master's degree, bought and sold the business.
Nice.
And then started looking for my ideal city.
Okay, yeah.
Which was San Angelo.
It was?
Yeah,
No way.
I mean, I looked everywhere and actually looking for a city of a certain size.
Yeah.
Low crime rate at that time.
Yeah, right, at that time.
And a university.
Yeah.
In the town. And so
Yeah.
I applied and got a job at Travis Elementary.
That's right. Wait, real quick though. So you're telling me that San Angelo was your ideal choice?
Yes.
That's really? That is fascinating.
Yeah, I actually ordered the newspaper for 6 months ahead of time.
The Standard Times?
The Standard Times, and read about all the news and everything.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And so I came down and...
Had you ever visited at all?
No.
Interesting.
No,
okay,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, I just came down here and just drove into town and went to administration building and said, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I just got lucky. And
That's cool.
I taught at Travis Elementary until they closed. Then I was at Lamar Elementary for many years.
When did Travis close? I remember Travis.
2002 or something.
Was it that long ago?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that.
let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it. Enjoyed teaching my whole life. I taught a total of 48 years.
Wow, 48 years. Yeah. After Lamar, where did you go?
I went to Santa Rita.
Okay.
And that's where I've been at Santa Rita.
Okay.
I did, after a while, at Travis Elementary, I was working on I wanted to work on a PhD, and I did my GRE, and I got a really high score. And actually, I was employed by NASA.
What?
And went to Idaho.
No.
And I was in charge of the educational material for NASA in Northwest United States.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I left my wife and 2 daughters behind trying to sell the house, and it didn't sell.
It didn't happen, yeah.
And so I came back, and I was rehired at Travis Elementary.
Okay.
And
wow, what were you doing at NASA? What did you get hired for there?
the educational material,
Okay.
just getting it out to the schools up there.
See.
And I went down to NASA. They flew me down there to in Orlando.
Yeah?
And
that's amazing.
And I went there, and then after I got rehired, I found an opportunity where I could take kids on a trip to Disney World.
So this is what you're famous for.
And I went to 24 years in a row. I called it a Science Quest trip. Went in Disney World, did science before the park even opened up.
Yeah.
And did that for many, many years.
That's amazing. We got to talk about that. Thank you to Maximus Nutrition for sponsoring the show. Maximus has some of the best nutrition and supplementation in the Concho Valley. Take it from me, as a strength coach for over 10 years, I've shopped there and got all my supplements from there. There's two, in fact, that I'd like to personally recommend to you. One is a good protein supplement called UMP Beverly International. It's got one of the highest bioavailability rates, so your body actually absorbs like 90% of the actual protein instead of like 60%. The other thing they carry is methylene blue. It's a really cool supplement. Do some research on that one, but it helps with mitochondrial energy uptake. So it helps you to recover faster, have more energy and focus in the gym. So thanks, guys. Maximus Nutrition. They got 2 locations, the one on Sunset and the one on Knickerbocker. I want to thank Winter the Barber, our newest front-end sponsor of the Matt Cutrer Report. Winter the Barber is located at Fresh Cuts, which is in the Sunset Mall right across from Marshall's. Winter does it all. She specializes in men's cuts, beards. She does waxing, the works. You got to go see Winter. She also does the little kids. She's got great rates, also does walk-ins. Winter the Barber, tell her Matt Cutrer sent you. But that's a great elevator pitch. So I wanted to ask though something kind of funny, but kind of not, to be honest, is do you think we went to the moon?
Oh yeah.
So did
Too
you
much
know?
room.
I know, right? But did you know that we've reached a point where I read a statistic, I don't know if it's true, but like 60-something% of the population believes we did not go to the moon.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my dad about this. So my dad is getting close to 70 years old, and he said, we were talking about it, and I said, well, you know, here's this conspiracy it's pretty juicy because there are a lot of things that are kind of fishy. And he said, but you have to understand, like, I lived through this. Like, they didn't just go to the moon once, they did it multiple times. And it was, you know, they showed us an animation of it on TV, and he explained a lot of things that were happening during that time. And it gave me a different perspective. It really did, because it's easy to fall into one of these conspiracy theory traps, you know. And so talking to someone who's lived through it like yourself, you can give reference and context to things that we don't realize. But why do you think it is that so many people feel that way, though?
Well, I think it's even more today than it has been in the past, because it's so confusing sometimes of what is the truth out in public.
Yes.
I mean, you can go on Facebook and you can read 2 opposite things on the same subject, and I think it's just the way it is in the world right now. And
I agree.
as a teacher, I tried to get the kids to understand that, and that sometimes things are exaggerated one way or another way, and it's usually somewhere in between. You know,
that's right. Yeah, that's good. I'll come back around to that because I have some questions on that. But what is your subject of your specialty? What did you do science, or was it
science?
Okay, I thought so.
Science.
Yeah.
I actually started as a math person.
Really?
And my degree is in math, but I've always loved science.
Yeah.
And as time went on, I was like, oh, I'm starting to get bored teaching math.
Yeah.
But science, it always was math and science, you know, elementary level, and science was my true love.
Nice.
You know? I'm still interested in science. I still get science magazines. I still read them. I still I have a desire to learn all the time.
Do you do still?
Yes.
Man, I love that. That's how I am. So do you like physics as well?
Physics was probably my number one thing that I was best at. And
I've taken a huge interest in that. But I wanted to ask you, so what have you always taught a certain grade, or did you jump around? What was your grade of choice usually?
Most of the time, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Okay.
And 5th grade most of the time. Yeah.
They say
grade.
that's a very pivotal grade.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's been the most impactful, do you think? I'm sure they all have their, significance. But
actually, I think 4th grade is a big deal, because like K through 3, they're treated younger. And then in 4th grade, they turn 10.
Yeah.
And it's like actually it's a magic year. 10 years old is actually, legally speaking, when the kids have more understanding what right and wrong.
Wow.
That's what the courts determine. I always tell the kids, okay, you're 10 now, you've got to grow up.
Yeah.
And
wow.
But, kids, they have changed, a little bit over the years, but pretty much the same.
Really?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you that. Pretty much the same as far as, so one of the things I guess is I want to know is, I always say this, and tell me if you think I'm right about this, is I feel like when we become adults, we forget how much we knew as a kid, like in elementary, and we kind of hid that from adults and parents. Like we knew a lot more than we let on. So I always tell people that, I tell parents that, I say, they're processing things you might not think they know about because they're hearing it at school or whatever. Yeah. Do you still feel it's that way, that kids are exposed to and learning things earlier and earlier?
There's some things they're stronger at nowadays and some things they're weaker at. You can talk about the being on screen times and things like that. But a good example, we went to the World Robotics thing recently in St. Louis.
Can't wait to talk about that. Let's talk about it, yeah.
And there was an interview we had to do on Zoom, and I had a team there. Well, the day before, I was talking to my team. I said, you need to say these kind of things and that, sit up and smile, and all these different things like this. But they're just kind of like looking around like this, just like this the whole time. And I said, hey guys, pay attention. You need to be paying attention. It's a big deal,
Yeah.
Oh, and they're just kind of going like this. And then when got in front of the camera and the judges, there's 4 judges were on Zoom asking them questions, and all of a sudden they were like, they remembered everything I said.
Really?
I was like, oh my gosh, I thought they were not paying attention to me at all. But,
so they were processing what you were saying. They were just waiting for the moment, I guess.
Yeah, the kids that I had the last 2 years. Last year, we actually, as 4th graders, they made it to state.
That's what I heard.
And then
that's incredible. So break down just a little bit. What is it you guys do in robotics? Are you building actual robots that perform functions like a multi-joint? Well, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, they're quite complicated.
Really?
Yeah, and they build these. We actually have 4 kinds of kids.
Okay.
There is the builders. So kids are really good at building. Okay. You could kind of tell, like even with Legos.
Yeah.
These are a little bit more advanced than Legos. But
like that engineering brain kind of. Yeah.
And then there's this coding.
Okay.
You have to code it, to code the robot, code the control unit. And there's part of it they have to do an autonomous drive. They just turn it on. And in this year's game was they actually had to pick up pins, stack them on top of each other, move them to a place. Okay. And then we have the drivers. They actually, part of it's you're driving it, but you have to code the driving part. Push this button forward and the thing goes forward and it turns that thing. Yeah. And then we have the engineering notebook, and we have kids doing that also.
Okay.
They creating. You have to prove that you designed and made that robot. And when you go into the judging before it starts, they ask the kids all these questions about did you do all this?
Yeah. And so everybody has sort of their job, right?
Everybody has their job.
Yeah. And how many people are on a team?
You can have it almost unlimited, but usually it's there is at any one of the parts of the contest. There's 3. There's actually somebody that loader. They actually these pins this year set off the side, and as one was put stacked, and you could add another one to it. There's a loader, so you have to have 3, and then there's 3 different kind of contests. The autonomous run, and then they get points for that. And then they have a driving, just 2 people driving. Okay. And then you have the team competition.
Right, that's what I've heard about.
And you are combined with another team.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And you work, and you talk to these other kids. And at the Worlds, we had these Chinese teams a couple times. Yeah. And we have translators and things like that.
I was going to ask how you communicated. Okay.
Yeah, that's how we communicated. Yeah. And this one team was so much better than us. They said, just get us the pins and we'll make the stacks, basically.
They're like, just do the legwork and we'll use our brain.
Yeah.
They were that good.
Oh, the teams from China were just phenomenal.
Wow.
But that's crazy. We're talking about hours and hours and hours every day.
I see.
We're just an elementary school, and we get maybe an hour or 2 days a week. So
right. Yeah. So. Wow. I remember in I think it was 7th or 8th grade, we were tasked in science to build it's got a name, and you'll know the name, where it performs a function, but it has to go through a bunch of different stuff before it. You know what I mean? What are those called? You know what I'm saying? It's a guy's name.
Rube Goldberg.
I think that's what it is.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so mine was to turn an alarm clock off. And you start it by, you roll over and you put a marble on this thing, and it performs all these functions. At the very end, this hammer hits the alarm clock,
Yeah.
And my dad is an engineer, and so he helped me with the project. I mean, we created this elaborate Goldberg deal. I mean, elaborate. So where it took weeks, and he had to help me bring it up to school, and it was so much further advanced than the other kids that it became like a thing that the whole school came and watched. And that's probably the proudest I've ever been of a project. And so
how old were you?
I was 8th grade, so I was
okay.
how old, 14, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that. I mean, it was incredible. And so I think doing something that's you're using your brain and as a team like this is incredibly beneficial to the kids, but also I bet they get pumped about it. Do they enjoy it, get really excited about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was 400 teams from around the world there.
So it's growing, huh?
It was huge.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
really,
cool.
really, really big. And like that Rube Goldberg, I used to do that in elementary school, but
You
it wasn't
did?
wasn't quite as elaborate.
Yeah.
But they had to use all these different energy sources.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
And some of them are really, really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
One kid's I remember it. He said, "Mr. Wheaton, you need to open the classroom door." I said, "What?" He said, and he set it all up, and all these things that were happening, and at the last thing, a wind-up airplane flew out the door.
Whoa.
And I'm
Did
like,
it work?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, it worked.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
There was so do you know Mr. Nichols, Todd Nichols?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
He's a friend of mine.
I figured. So
Yeah.
You guys are cut from the same cloth. He was my 5th grade teacher. Yeah.
Oh, well, you got a great teacher then.
Yeah. And one of the things that we did with him was, I don't know if you maybe you've done this or heard that he did this too, but the egg toss, where
Right,
so
right.
you take an egg, you get an egg, and it's your pet. You got to keep it safe, and you create. They're going to throw it off the roof, so you can create whatever you want out of a shoebox to protect your egg. You can suspend it from rubber bands in there. You can put tissue in there. You can put a pillow in there. And you throw it off the roof. Some of them break, some of them don't. Mine was actually the rubber band idea. I had my egg in the middle, wrapped in rubber bands, and then suspended in every direction you could think, so it would bounce. But it had too much play and it ended up cracking. But have you done that one?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah,
That's a
I've
fun
even
one.
gotten up on top of roofs and dropped it down. And
Yeah.
one year the kids were too good at it. And,
Really?
or I didn't have a roof high enough or something. I can't remember what it was. But we eventually okay, I'm going to have to throw it as hard as I can against the wall. And then we'll see what happens. And of course, they weren't designed for that. But,
Right.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. So I wanted to ask you, though, as far as technology goes and screen time that we mentioned, I also read a statistic that for the first time ever in human history, the millennials' children, which is Generation Z, are actually, they say, dumber than their parents. And I think I don't know if they're dumber. My dad said this. He said, I don't think they're dumber. They just have shorter attention spans.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? Do you think that this is the first time this generation is lagging behind the others, or is that not true in your opinion, from what you've seen?
They seem to be just as good overall, but the pluses and minuses in their learning. When I was a kid, we were outside doing things.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot, and even when we used to be riding in the car, you were paying attention to things around you. They're not as aware of things around them, and they aren't able to do some things as well. But that's not all the kids. I'm just talking about some kids.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Behavior, I think they the behavior of kids, it's just a little bit more work nowadays.
It's a little more what?
It's more work to keep in the classroom to keep the kids behaving
Really?
well. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's harder to get it harder.
I see. I misunderstood you. Okay, yeah.
It's a little harder to
Yeah.
And that's something that has changed. Way back when I was at Travis, they didn't have assistant principals, and I was the acting principal when our principal was off campus, and I was out in one of those portables.
Oh yeah.
And long ways from the office, but they would call me from the office to deal with something, and I could leave my classroom and say, "Hey, kids, be good," and come back 15, 30 minutes later, and no problems.
Dang, really?
No problems at all.
That's a miracle.
But nowadays, you couldn't do that. You can't do that at all. Actually, I don't even know if they don't even want you to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's a little different world back then.
Right,
But
it was.
Yeah.
That reminds me, so, I was talking to somebody in a podcast episode yesterday, and he said, Michael Garavay, and we were talking, I said, were you a latchkey kid? I said, do you know what that is? He said, no, not really. I said, that's usually refers to Generation X, and their parents were often working multiple jobs or single parents, and so when you got home from school, you found your key wherever it was, and you let yourself in, you made yourself a snack, and then you went outside and you played until your parents came home and it was time for dinner. Right. And I said, I wasn't necessarily a latchkey kid, but I'll tell you what, when I got home, I was outside until the sun went down, and there were times I was miles from home. You know what I mean? Nowadays, that is unheard of, right? Are there kids that do that still? Do you think that go out?
There are some.
Really?
There's some, but not as many. I mean, even in my neighborhood that I live in, you just don't see it as much.
Yeah.
You don't see the kids on the bicycles as much.
Yeah.
You don't see skateboards.
I know it.
All those different things that kids used to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, is safety reasons.
Yeah,
The parents
it
don't
seems
want
that
them
way.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit more worry nowadays, except I don't know if things are any different than they were in the past.
That's what I wonder, yeah.
I think they're kind of the same. I think we worry. Well, even when I started going on going to Disney World, and we'd go to Universal Studios sometimes too.
I love Universal. That's my favorite place, yeah.
But I would take, I was teaching fourth grade. I would take fourth graders without parents. I'd have like 4 or 5 chaperones with me and maybe 30, 40 kids.
Yeah.
And these kids would be in a room, 4 kids in a room, no adult.
Wow, yeah.
And, and they'd do fine.
Yeah.
They'd do fine. And, but as time went on, that became almost unheard of.
I know.
Especially elementary
kids.
kids.
Yeah, it did. You're right. This overprotection kind of. And also on that point, on Christmas, during Christmas Day, in the morning, everybody's in their house, but in the afternoon, everybody's outside on their new skateboard or their new bike or playing with their new ball. And now it's just dead. Like everybody's inside with their new tablet or whatever, you know. And it's kind of sad. But, the other thing I wanted to ask you about that in that same line of thought is, do you think kids are becoming overall less active, are burning less calories, are more obese? Have you seen that since the increase of technology?
It was getting really bad up until, I'm going to say, maybe a year or two ago. I actually see a change now.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
One of my jobs is on Thursdays, I have cafeteria duty. And I'm seeing more and more kids eating healthier.
That's incredible.
They're bringing food, and the parents are giving them more healthy
food.
Okay.
Yes.
So this has just recently turned around. I think people are thinking about healthy food for their kids more than they ever have.
Okay. Then that's good to hear. That's encouraging right there.
Yeah, it really is.
That is cool. Yeah. What does recess look like nowadays? Is it the same where we have, a group playing football and a group on the swing set and a group what's it like?
You mentioned something. You said swing sets.
You don't have them or what?
They do not have swing sets.
No.
All of the things that they consider, dangerous, they took away. And the statistics show that the kids are getting hurt more at recess. Now they run around and they run into each other.
Yeah.
But there's no swing sets at schools
That's
anymore.
Terrible.
Or the merry-go-round.
No,
they took those away.
Yeah.
Teeter-totters?
Yeah.
They
those
took
are gone?
They're gone.
Monkey bars?
Not. they're a little bit more safer now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it that way. But yeah, they took away a lot of the stuff we'd all get hurt on, but we'd learn our lesson.
Pretty soon it's gonna evolve into just a rubber room where they throw the kid,
Yeah, really.
for safety.
Yeah.
No, but that is sad, man, because my dad and I, we take my 4-year-old to the park all the time, and we're with him, but he loves to swing, and so that's kind of sad. And
well, that's why I told the kids. I said, "Oh, I wish we had swing sets." I said, remember when I was a kid, I was having a really bad day.
Yeah.
I could always get on that swing set and go back and forth, and I'd just be floating,
You're right about that. There's something very therapeutic about that.
Right, it was.
Yeah, it
really
brings
was.
like this instant joy.
Yeah,
that's
and,
true. Yeah.
That's
cool.
I guess it's because every once in a while somebody would jump out of the swing and get hurt. But
that's a big thing. The other thing is, and I told my dad this, is one of the things kids do is they're not very aware, and so when someone's swinging, they walk by them and get kicked in the head and stuff.
Right.
And that happens. But yeah, so how long is recess? 30 minutes still these days? Or?
No, it's I think at my school this year 20 minutes.
20?
Once a day, 20 minutes. So
yeah.
When I was growing up, I had 2 recesses when I was growing up. Yeah.
You did? I didn't have. I had one 30-minute. You had 2 recesses? That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
what was your thing at recess? What did you like to do?
See, I'm 72 years old, so this been back ways.
Yeah.
We actually had an hour for lunch.
Wow.
In my school, which was a pretty good size, we had an hour. I actually went home for lunch.
You went home?
Went home. Most of the time, my parents weren't there, even when I was like 1st and 2nd grade.
Wow.
And I would just make my own little sandwich.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 other recesses, and school would start at 8:30 and get out at 3:15. And
wow.
And so that's I guess one of the other differences. School's more intense back then, and you more focused.
Yeah.
Here you're in class, and
Yeah.
you're learning, and then you go play.
Yeah.
And
speaking of that, what about discipline? So, I remember some of the biggest disciplinary actions that I remember the most growing up. So kindergarten was the rotten egg system, and you had eggs on the wall with your name, a string of eggs.
Okay.
And if you did something, you turned an egg over, the teacher did, and it was rotten. And if you got 4 of them, then they called your parents. And I remember I only got 1 egg ever turned over, but it hurt my feelings so bad. And then it was after that, I think it was like name on the board. You get your name on the board in detention. But I tell you what, that rotten egg system was the one that stuck with me the most. And maybe because I was younger. But what are some techniques that you use, and what is effective, actually?
The one I use for years is I have a discipline board. I say, okay, everybody has 100.
Okay.
This 6 weeks or 9 weeks, whatever it was, everybody has 100. And then if you do something wrong, I take away 2 points.
Okay.
And I take away 2 points and 2 points. And if usually that was the task to lose in time at recess.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes out, 2 times. If you acted up twice, 10 minutes out.
Okay.
That kind of thing. One of the most effective discipline systems we ever had at Travis.
Yeah.
Is we had an expert come in, and we had this system that if you acted up, the teacher never made a comment. The teacher teaches all the rules, okay? But then if the child is acting up, you just put their name on the board.
Okay.
Like a warning.
Yeah.
If they do something else wrong again, check mark. And you don't say a word. You don't say one word.
Okay.
You just have their name and a check mark, and that means you'd lose recess time. Now, if they get 2 check marks, they had to call home.
Interesting.
And if they got 3 check marks, then it was after school detention that day.
Okay.
And if the parents said, well, I can't come and get them because of whatever, and said, no, you have to. You have to come and get them.
Yeah.
And so the next day, the child didn't get any trouble because the parents were like, they had to leave work
That
or whatever.
is interesting. Yeah.
And there was absolutely no problem, and the teachers never had to raise their voice.
Wow.
Never had to yell or any of that kind of, and it was very, very, very effective, and got to the point where you very seldom put kids on.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And also, if the whole class would go without anybody getting in trouble during the day,
incentive, you get some.
They got a free recess. We got an extra recess.
Yeah. That's pretty smart.
And
Yeah, just a second. Last thing I wanted to say. In second grade, Mrs. Moore, I don't know if you know Miss Moore. She was at Austin Elementary, but
I remember the name.
You do?
Yeah.
She would go. This was her. She would say, I remember this kid Toby. She'd say Toby, and she'd go, and if you still wouldn't stop, and then what happened. And I don't think she really knew what would happen when you get to 3, but you didn't want her to get to 3.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, all right, guys, that's it in for the live. You're gonna have to tune into the full episode with Mr. Wheaton to catch more, but we'll see you soon. Cool.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. Live. Yeah. This is fantastic. So that system. Did it last for a while? Because it seems like it worked.
It lasted until you had some special parents that had some extra power and say, I can't come and get my child. And then they are given some special privilege. Yep. And then some other parent would find that out.
And complain.
And then it would went away after about 3 or 4 years.
I wonder if any schools still use that.
No, not that I know of.
Yeah. Did you get SWATs when you were growing up? Did that happen to you?
Well, I had one situation in middle school, junior high actually, what it was back.
Yeah.
I was in the back of the gym with about 10 other guys horsing around when the coach, they had a couple coaches in there, they're big, like 100 kids in there.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, okay, everybody get in line, whatever. And I guess we didn't go fast enough. And he's like, up here. Guy, great big arms, came up, bend over, went down the line. 10 of us, SWAT.
Really?
Yeah.
Just everybody?
Yeah, one after another.
With his hand or a paddle or what?
A paddle, big paddle with holes in it.
Yeah,
holes in it. Go faster that way.
Did it hurt?
Oh, it really hurt.
Yeah?
It really hurt. But that's the only time.
SWATs, I've heard for a long time, I know this, that Wall did that for a long time. I don't know if they still do or not.
Well, I think they might, but like always with that kind of situation, you don't have to do it very often. Actually, at Travis, the principal swatted.
Wow.
And I'd have to go in there and observe her swatting the boys, and the female teacher would have to go in there and observe her swatting a girl very seldom. But
was there ever a time where you had to be like, I think that was a little too hard, or were you like, you need to swat them harder? Was there anything like that?
I don't know. This lady could really swing it.
Oh, she was really swinging, wasn't she?
But I tell you, it was not very often. I mean, once the word gets around.
I know. Yeah.
Once it got around.
That's scary.
Yeah. They were like,
I know I wouldn't want that. Yeah. I remember the biggest trouble I got in was probably 6th grade, and it was, they still do it, is OCS, or I think they call it like now, I don't know what they call it, but the acronym or whatever, but on-campus suspension, where you're in the cubicle, and ISF, I think they call it. Yeah, and it's just boring, and you miss out on things, but it's interesting to think about how discipline has evolved. But overall, would you say the behavior of kids is worse? Like you said, a little worse? It's harder to keep them in line?
Yeah, and in certain, you have to watch them more.
Okay.
They will look for opportunities more to act up.
Yeah.
Now, if you are watching them, they'll behave.
Okay.
They'll behave.
Yeah.
If you have these expectations of no talking, whatever, and you're paying attention, and they know that you will follow up with some kind of discipline, they will behave.
Yeah. Do y'all have? So I remember we had these kind of these kids every once in a while. They were the type that they would get into it with the teacher, and they'd be warned, but they would continue and keep going. And then they get into these kind of verbal arguments with the teacher, and sometimes it was kind of funny, like us kids would laugh, but sometimes it was kind of crazy. Does that still happen every once in a while, where a kid just goes off like that?
Yeah, there's always been certain kids, certain situations, certain kids that you have to do different things with. There's always, a lot of times there's a background with that child, and you know what happened. They know their background, and so you try to be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah,
and that happens. But at Travis, one of my worst behaved students one time, that I was teaching in 5th grade, he's in my homeroom.
Yeah,
very, very poor behavior. Moved from Los Angeles to
wow.
to the town and
Yeah.
came into school. He just problems all year long. Okay, and even the last week of school, he was in the on-campus suspension.
Yeah.
And then the next year, my principal moved me to 6th grade.
Oh, we had him again.
And that particular student was put in another classroom.
Okay.
The mother got all upset and demanded that he be put back in my classroom because I was successful with him. And I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I wouldn't call that successful, but you must have done something.
So here I am teaching him the second year.
Yeah.
And then at Christmas time, he said he didn't live with his dad, but his dad was coming to visit from Los Angeles. And I said, could you come over on Christmas, at Christmas? And I said, Christmas Day? Are you talking about? And he said, yeah, could you come over Christmas Day and meet my dad?
Whoa.
And I left my family for about 2 hours and went over to his house on Christmas Day. After that, he was perfect.
Wow.
I mean, absolutely perfect. And I don't want to go too many details because I'll figure out who it is. But it's really cool is that I'm actually at Santa Rita teaching his son now.
That's incredible.
And
that is so cool.
And this guy has
He knew you
a
cared.
high-level job,
Wow.
college and everything. So
Do you still talk to him sometimes too? That's so cool.
I don't see the dad very often, but I do see him once in a while.
Yeah, that's pretty neat right there.
Yeah,
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
good success story. It took
I
me
know.
1.5 years.
Yeah. What did you do when you went over? You just hung out with him and stuff?
Just met
that's
him
cool.
and ate some cake or whatever.
Yeah.
you know.
Man, that's a cool story. Yeah. So what about the parents? Do you still they have like parent-teacher conferences? Have you seen like an increase of hostile parenting, hostile parents toward teachers? Are they more involved with the kids, would you say, compared to 20, 30 years ago?
I think the parents are more involved.
Yeah,
I think
seems
the
that way
parents
for
are
sure.
more. They're trying to find out what their child is doing in school a lot more than they used to.
Yeah. That's a good thing, right?
And that's a good thing. And I think in the past they send their kids to like, teacher figure them out, and that kind of thing. But the parents are more involved.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to know some of these parents really, really
Yeah,
well.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really cool that I get invited to their graduations
That's
and
amazing.
things. I teach them elementary school, and they remember me. And I got one yesterday.
That's awesome.
A graduation announcement.
That's so cool.
And I follow up on a lot of kids. Some of them become Facebook friends.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I actually used to teach, when I was teaching them, I said, I never know. You may be a doctor someday, and I need to see you. Well, actually, three of my former students, two of them have given me medical advice because they're doctors, and then like even one that recommended another doctor to me, and then the third one actually is my wife is a dentist. Is a former student of mine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
and so I'm like, okay, it's going around.
Yeah,
Okay,
you called it. Yeah,
I want to do a good job teaching you kids because I might need your help
that's
someday.
Right. Yeah. Pay attention closely now.
Yeah,
Picture operating on me.
Yeah, really. Yeah. If you're cutting on me, you need to do.
Yeah, that's cool. So tell me about the Disney World. So what made you decide to do that, and how did you go about making that happen?
I went to a science conference in Texas, and there was this group that was a student travel group.
Okay.
And all I had to do is get some kids together, and then I would. And I could go to Disney World with them, and he actually gave you another free trip to Disney World, like in February or something like that. And so, it sounds like a good deal, And so I did that. And actually, I saw something on Facebook recently. The first year I took the kids, they posted it.
What year was it?
93, 94.
Was it?
1994,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
And so then I, after 3 years of doing this other company was bought out by somebody else, and And then they raised the minimum number of students to 30, and I'm like, and I didn't know if I could get that many, so I said, I'm going to do this trip myself.
Yeah.
I can organize it. I can get the buses. I can do a group booking just like a travel agent.
Absolutely.
And at Disney World, they have a whole program there. They get you the rooms. They get you the programs and everything else you need to do.
Yeah.
And so then I did that for 21 more years.
Wow.
24 years total.
Yeah.
Until COVID.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Disney kind of shut down for 2 years. After 20 years, some top executives with Disney met me at the park and gave me this big Disney trophy and
that's cool.
Thanked me. And
I
got one other quick story.
Yeah, of course.
There was a student that I taught, I think even before I started doing this Disney World trip.
Yeah.
And there's a magazine called Discover Magazine, which was a science magazine.
Yeah.
That was actually owned by Disney at one time.
Oh, wow. Doesn't surprise me.
And anyway, there's a student I had that had moved in from Illinois, and she had been traumatized by some real bad things in her family, and her dad was in prison, and she was basically being hidden by the family from the dad.
Oh, I see.
And again, this girl did not say one word.
Wow, she's one of those.
Yeah, just sat in class, never said a word. And I was talking about something in science I read in that Discover magazine.
Yeah.
And then her hand went up like this, and I called on her name, and I said, you know something about this? She said, Mr. Wheaton, I read that same article.
Really? Yeah.
And she was living with a great aunt and uncle. They're really elderly, and but they got that magazine.
Yeah.
And so then she didn't like talking in class, so I should come over my desk and we'd talk about articles in the magazine.
That's awesome. Yeah.
About these different science articles. And
wow,
I wrote a letter to Disney about this.
Yeah.
And I got a letter back, and I said I can't give you a name. I don't want you to ever publish this or anything like that. But I did get a letter back one time from the top executives at Disney about how they shared it with all their top people about the story and things like that.
That's amazing.
I was like, that was so neat.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And how long? What is she doing now? Do you know? I mean, I don't have to get specific, but is she doing all right?
I followed her for a little while, and I think she was some kind of nurse.
Cool.
And she had a couple kids. I don't know where she lives now.
That probably meant the world to her.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is kind of.
That's
Facebook
really cool.
is kind of neat because you can find out where some of your.
I know. Used to, some people don't realize this, but used to, you'd graduate school or whatever, and you lose track of people for life. That's it. And some people don't realize that. I mean, it's pretty incredible that you can keep track of all these students and teachers.
You can, and once in a while, some will contact me and say, are you Mr. Wheaton that used to teach me? I'm living in New York or whatever.
Wow, all over, I bet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, man, Disney World. I've never been to Disney World, but I've been to Universal. I went during my honeymoon when I got married, and it blew my mind because I grew up going to like Six Flags and stuff like that, which
it's a whole
love.
different world.
But it's like if you've never been to Universal or Disney World, some of those rides, I think they call it like 4D years, where it's you're on a roller coaster, but there's screens everywhere, and you're immersed in this virtual experience. It's incredible.
Oh, it is.
It's a different world, and so it's really neat. So you've been to you took them to Universal one time?
I most of the time Disney.
Okay.
But I also would go for a day at Universal.
Yeah.
Way back, it was just one park. And now Universal is like, three parks.
Yeah, it is.
Three parks.
Yeah.
And even Disney, when I first started going, it was 3 parks.
Okay.
And then they added Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom, yeah.
And we'd go there. They did not have as good a science education programs. I did, but so when I would go to a park, I'd actually do. We'd get there early and we'd do behind the scenes. And it was kind of neat because we get to cut lines. We don't have to wait in line to take us, quicker.
Yeah.
And actually,
Cool.
and that Disney would ride the rides before the park would even open
Oh,
up.
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's a big advantage.
Did you ride the roller coasters and stuff? Would you ride everything?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm not a big roller coaster person,
Yeah.
but there's some are my favorite.
Yeah. So what about, I meant to ask, do the parents of the students pay for the trip? How does that work as far as raising the money and all that?
See, when I was at Lamar doing the trip for years, and even at Travis, but most of the years was at Lamar, Lamar's kids came from many
You're good.
many different places, and a lot of them were very, very low income. And the whole idea of this trip is the kids could go on this trip because families can't afford it. I mean, it's really expensive.
Yeah.
To fly down there and stuff, but I'd get these group rates.
Yeah.
And the families do this fundraising, and there is many paid for the whole trip by fundraising.
Really?
And we would do lots of fundraising. That was my big work. Now,
yeah.
There was an advantage. I got a free trip. To Disney World, and
of course.
after quite a few years, we actually added in the Disney cruise.
Wow.
And one of these parents said, "Do you know they have a science lab on a Disney cruise ship, and the kids can sign up for science programs?" I said, "Well, I don't know if anybody will go. It's going to add extra money." And so this was back when Disney first started, and they only had like one or two ships. And so we did, and then it became. Once I started going on a cruise, then the parents started going. Well, the parents have to go if they're on the cruise ship. And so then
that's cool.
But the whole families do fundraising. I mean, I had a family
I didn't know that.
of 4 make all the money. I mean, it'd be.
Are we talking like 10 grand or 15 grand or something for like a family?
Not quite that much back then.
5 grand?
Maybe 5,000. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. I bet they'll remember that forever,
Oh, yeah.
For sure, especially if you never got to do that, That's so cool. One time in my senior year, my choir class took a trip to Branson, Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't do, we didn't pay for it. I didn't even tell my family just because I didn't think it was something we would be able to do. And my grandmother and my dad paid for it like 2 days before the trip. And I was like, "You're kidding." And I had the most incredible experience in Branson, Missouri. Like, just I'll never forget it. So I know how important that is to kids, how significant that is. Pretty cool.
The maturity level of the kids would rise up. So it was such a neat thing to see when they went without their parents.
Yeah.
They'd step up.
Wow.
I'd give them a certain amount of money every day, and they'd learn to handle that money and be at certain places at certain times, get up, get out, get the right color shirt on that day, and that
that's so great for them.
It was so funny because when their parents would go, though, some of the kids, "Mom, I'm tired," kind of thing.
Yeah. Man, that alone is so good for them. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so, being a teacher in the SAISD, the school system here for a long time, how many years? 40.
40 something.
Yeah. So, how have you seen the SAISD school system evolve, and what things do you think could be better about it?
Oh, yeah. That's going to be hard to talk because
I don't want to get you in hot water or anything.
I'd be careful here.
Yeah.
It's really changed back and forth.
Okay.
And the money available for different things, the teacher pay scale, only just recently did we get a pay raise, but it still didn't keep up with inflation.
Heck no.
It really not.
Yeah.
But there's a big changes going on right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, big changes. A lot of movement administrators.
Yeah.
They're going, it's really changing things a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going on, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But teachers are a little bit confused why there's so much change happening. Well, one, there's a decline in enrollment.
Oh.
There is. I mean, throughout I saw a news story the other day on the whole state, there's a decline in enrollment.
Why is that? Is it because
there's fewer kids? I mean, when I was growing up, there was like 5, 6, 7 kids in the family quite often. But now
just overall,
overall, there's
Wow.
not as many kids.
Yeah.
And you may even see, like by Lamar Elementary, lots of homes being built out there, but the families are not that big.
That's so
They're
true.
very,
yeah.
very small. Yeah.
So do you think that as of right now, SAISD is on a better trajectory, or do you think things are a little rocky and you can't really tell?
I
right
tell
now?
you, there's a lot of things coming from the state.
Yeah.
The teachers are given the curriculum now, mostly by the state. They're
Okay.
given the material,
Yeah.
and this is you follow kind of a scripted thing, and
And
more
is it
than
still
ever used to
based
be.
around the testing?
Yeah, and
Standardized
if
testing?
there's one gripe, I openly would like to say there's too much testing.
Right.
I'm
glad to hear you say that.
I
Yeah.
just watched these kids go through the STAR testing,
Yeah.
and they had to take 3 STAR tests, and then they have to come back with this what they call the MAP testing. They had to take 3 more MAP tests. And every one of them are being told these are very, very important. And I've, in the past we didn't worry about those tests as much.
Yeah.
It would just tell the kids, okay, you got a test coming up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Even during the TOS test, I remember
Yeah.
it was, we studied for it, but it wasn't the end all be all big, whatever. And the Horace Mann school system, is, from what I understand, was designed literally to make kids obedient and to make them become better factory workers.
It's the industrial system,
And during the Industrial Revolution. And so, of course, now with the technological boom, other types of schools are opening up, other educational options. I don't know if you've seen these AI schools, all kinds of stuff going on. But in terms of moving away from SAISD in particular, the school system in America, do you think it's time for a real an uprooting and change, or do you think it's still a pretty good education system?
I think there needs to be some kind of change.
Yeah.
I think there's so many diverse kids out there.
Yeah.
It's hard to accommodate each one with one teacher in the classroom.
Yeah.
And we're being told that. If there's there's a teacher, 20, 25 or more kids in a classroom, and you're saying, well, this child has this need, this child has that need, that child that.
Yeah.
And you're trying to meet all of that is very, very, very difficult.
I can only imagine, yeah.
It would be an ideal situation if you could get the kids some information and say, here it is, learn it.
Yeah.
But there's not that many kids. A lot of kids have to, be pushed.
Sure.
Pushed
Absolutely.
along.
Yeah.
My robotics team, as a coach, I pointed them, here it is.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Really? Wow.
That's my
yeah.
system. But I had real good kids.
Yeah.
I really do. And,
Yeah.
And I said, you need to figure out how to, open and close your claw and lift it up and move it forward and do all the coding.
Exactly, yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to tell you how to do that.
Right.
I said, I could do this, but I'm not.
Cool.
And so they had to figure it all out.
Yeah, that's really good for learning problem-solving skills, obviously. Yeah, working together.
But you have to, even then, you have to say, come on, guys, keep going. You got to get work on it. Get going on it. Keep going.
I see, yeah.
And
So what about, don't you feel like our education system, we should have a class for learning to do your taxes? And maybe a financial class, why aren't we taught that? The basic stuff to live as a normal human in society here in America. Why aren't we taught that?
Yeah,
it's so strange.
Yeah, we don't even write checks much anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say balance a check, but we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, we don't do it.
But learning to maybe, basic investing, learning the difference between liabilities and assets, anything like that.
Well, see, that's the thing. With the test system we have, we're tending to teach to the test. Way back, I still had the material. Invest in the stock market. I actually used to get the newspaper, order a newspaper for a couple weeks, and the kids would and you used to put the stock prices in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And the kids would have to pick some stocks to invest in.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, you have pretend $10,000.
That's cool.
And you're gonna invest in these stocks, and why are you picking that stock?
Yeah.
Why do you think that one's going to do well? Of course, everybody's picking Disney.
Yeah.
And Disney one time was going up, but when their movies bomb, they go downtown.
Yeah.
But
that's cool though. Did they learn from that? I mean, was it?
Yeah, we used to do that kind of thing.
That's cool.
It was more. That's one of the things I think when I was saying it's kind of changing.
Mm-hmm.
The teachers don't have the freedom to expand out as much as they did in the past.
Right.
And it seemed like we had so much more time in the past to do these different things.
Wow, that right there. So this is a conspiracy theory, but they say that if you do a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, now there's only 45 seconds in a minute. They say that time is speeding up because we're moving to another dimension. But it's funny because you hear that a lot, though, that it does seem like we don't have as much time anymore for things like that. You know, and one of the coolest things that my science teacher did in 4th grade, Miss McKeska, I don't know if you remember her.
I know. I know her.
So she allowed us.
I know a lot of teachers.
I'm sure, yeah. She brought in old TVs, computers, radios.
You could take them apart.
Yeah, and we have to take them apart and see how they work. Do you do that too?
I still in my garage.
I love that.
I have some old stuff, and I'm like, I was going to take it to school, and I'm taking it apart, but I don't know.
Yeah, that was fun, though. I remember that. So, man, you've had a long career. You really have. And I'll tell you, just learning about you. I wish I would have had you, but I mean, learning about you as a teacher and as a person.
Well, it sounds like you had some good teachers.
I did. I really did.
Okay.
But, man, I haven't heard anything but the highest praises from people. I mean, the absolute highest. And so I just am honored to have you on, and I think San Angelo is lucky to have you. And so overall, I want to ask you this. You're retiring. You've had a long, fulfilling career. Is there anything that you wish you would have done that you didn't? And what is one of your biggest learning lessons from your career that you're taking away?
Well, actually, pretty much every year that I ever taught, I wish I would have done more.
Oh.
At the end of the year, I actually, when the kids leave, I get really depressed for a couple of days. I'm like, and I straighten myself up. And I'm like, I wish I would have done more.
Yeah.
I wish I would have done more.
I bet you'll always feel that way.
And I always feel that way. But as a retiring now, my wife is retiring too.
Oh, cool.
She's at another school in town.
All right.
And and I keep thinking in my mind there, I'm still have something to give.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
I have my next adventure waiting for me.
That's right. Yeah.
And,
that's good to remind yourself, because I also am a firm believer, if you don't use it, you lose it. You know, you need purpose. And so, it's just on to the next chapter, the next adventure.
Next thing. Yeah, I just don't want to sit around.
Yeah.
You know.
So what was your biggest takeaway from teaching at the elementary kids? What was the biggest impact in your life?
Oh, they added to my life.
Always,
They always added to my life, and I enjoyed them.
Yeah,
truly enjoyed them.
Yeah,
and
that's cool. Yeah,
it's hard to explain how these kids they come like a family. Not like the total family, but you really start caring for them.
I can imagine.
You really, really care for them and their future and everything else. And so that's one of the things that every day I'd go, get up. All right, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to my job.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And I wish I was paid more many years ago, but, struggling with having my own children and try to, make ends meet. But we made it work.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that's one of the... I dated a teacher for a while, and one of the things I didn't know is how much money she was spending on extra things for her classroom. Posters, games,
I know it.
You name it. I could not believe it. But not only that, but she wasn't done when the bell rang either. You know what I mean? And so it's like they are grossly underpaid, you guys are. And do you think we'll ever fix that in this country?
Last weekend, I spent $30 on things I was doing with my kids this week.
Yeah.
For 1 week.
Wow.
I was like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. So what will you do now? What is your next chapter? Tell us that real quick.
Well, a couple other teachers were talking well, in the summer it's going to be somewhat similar. I used, a little bit better, because way in the past I always work in 2 or 3 jobs.
Oh, wow.
Because you couldn't make it as a teacher. I would have to leave, the day at teaching, I'd go to work at somewhere else, like Lowe's for a while, places like that. And but just before I walked in here, my wife was texting me, well, we need to get the house fixed up so we can sell it and move closer to my grandkids. And
Where are they?
Well, my one is in College Station,
Okay.
one's in Round Rock
Ooh,
area.
I love that area.
No, Georgetown. She lives in
I
Georgetown.
love that area,
And
yeah.
and my grandson, the youngest, is at Texas State University.
That's where I went. I graduated 09 from there.
Oh, really?
Fellow Bobcat, yeah.
Yeah, he's
that's awesome.
in engineering.
Ooh, nice. Very
So-
nice. I was a communications guy. That's
Yeah.
good. Engineering.
Yeah.
All right. What year is he?
First year.
Okay, cool.
His first year. He
Yeah.
seemed to be doing all right.
Does he like it at Texas
Yeah.
State?
Yeah.
Good deal.
He likes it.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, he seems to be doing all right.
Yeah.
He's a very, very laid back
Oh, is he?
boy.
Yeah.
Very chill.
Yeah.
Always, how you doing at school? Oh, fine.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Are you going to college? Last year, are you going to college? Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, never super excited about anything.
no.
You're like over the top.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, Mr. Wheaton, lastly, what are 3 things that you're genuinely grateful for right now in your life? I always ask everybody this.
Oh, wow. Hope I don't tear up.
It's all right if you do. I mean, I do it all the time.
My wife.
Yeah,
My wife.
cool.
And my children.
Yeah,
Grandkids. And darn it.
yeah.
And all my great students I've taught.
All of them.
Thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It's been a wonderful time teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a career. It's
It
amazing.
really has been.
Yeah.
It's
pretty special.
Just a chance to make a difference in the life of kids and make a difference in the world.
That's right.
Way back, as I'm an 18-year-old, I said, I want to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
And so you
feel like you did that?
Teaching, yeah. Teaching would be a good way to make a difference in
That's
the world.
right.
I made my little tiny bit, but I did,
That's right.
yeah.
I love the saying, I'm sure you've heard this, but the kid on the beach with thousands of starfish, and he picks the one up with no legs, and he's throwing them in the water or whatever, and the guy comes up and he said, son, what are you doing, kid? You can't save all these starfish. Why are you doing that? He said, well, I just saved that one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like so my
That's
students,
cool. It matters to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, well, thank you for
All right,
everything.
well, thank you.
Thank you. Wendell Wheaton, this was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, thank
cool.
you.
What a career. All right, guys, you saw it here. This was a great episode. Thanks for watching. If you see Mr. Wheaton out there, tell him congratulations and a career well done. We'll see you later.
Forged by fire, turn the pressure into power.
For real.